What is the worst part about being a fat person? Feeling uncomfortable all the time. For some reason people always assumed I was simple-minded/stupid when I was obese. Now that I've lost weight, people just talk to me like I'm a regular person. I have a fear that nobody is ever going to fall in love with me because I don't feel visible and I'm fat. Also, going to the pool or beach and you have to put on a swimsuit. I feel like a seal stranded on the beach. The bullying I had to experience being a fat child. When I was fat, I didn't realize it at the time, but how lethargic you are and just how much worse you feel mentally and physically compared to being fit. It's night and day. My depression is basically non-existent. I actually want to go out and do things, and it's even easier to control my emotions. I rarely hear the mental health side talked about. Feeling guilty while eating your favorite foods. Not looking good in photos/clothes. My belt trying to stab me in my belly when I sit down. Not the worst part. But the most constantly shitty part is constantly being called big guy by every kind of person other than other big guys. My thighs rubbing and chafing. I'm so fucking raw right now. Nothing seems to fit nicely or still look nice in your size. When I was heavier, I absolutely hated getting out of people's cars. And sitting in the backseat of a two-door car was total nightmare fuel. Putting on a shirt. Walking into the back room. Seeing how it makes me look. And then never pulling out my favorite shirt ever again. Hating your own reflection. Just the sheer amount of room fatness takes up in your brain. You're either thinking about it or being reminded of it by your clothes, social situation, available space, etc. It's exhausting. The amount of pants you go through. Having good taste in clothes. Clothes are not the size. Sweating. Mirrors. You can be having a good time while out. Walk across your reflection. And your entire mood is ruined by seeing you big you look and then how disgusting you feel. That was my experience at least. Lying about being hungry so people don't think of course the fat ass is fucking hungry. Having an ache in your arm or chest and not knowing if it's posture or your heart finally packing in. Cutting your toenails sucks ass. Asking for a extender for an airline seat. Then the folks' expression when I stop at their pool parties. Sweating. Walk up some stairs. Sweat. 70 and sunny. Sweat. 30 and grey. Sweat. Sitting. Sweat. You get about 20 minutes after you dry off after a cool shower of being dry before sweating again. Clothes are too long when you compensate for your width. Getting winded waking up a couple flights of stairs. Glass half full. I'm 30 pounds down in 2 months. Only 70 more to go. Heavy breathing. The fucking shirt pull, you know what I'm talking about. Edit. To all of you out there. I promise you are loved and appreciated. I'm glad to know I'm not alone in this. Seeing chairs at a restaurant and being scared you won't fit. Sad reality. Feeling okayish about the way you look or feel and then seeing yourself in a picture and going into a spiral of depression for the next 3 weeks. When I lost weight I discovered that people seemed way more nice to me and seemed to approach me as being more intelligent or valued than before. People view you as a lesser person in society. Not wanting to go out to eat because I feel like I can't win no matter what I order. I used to weigh over 500 and I've lost over 200 pounds all on my own. But I'm still fat and people still stare. No one knows I've lost weight and went to therapy to understand how to eat. No one knows I was starved as a kid and developed seriously disordered eating habits. Everyone just sees a fat person. I feel like if get a burger, people expected it. I'm getting fat person food. Once I got a salad and the waitress asked if I didn't want pizza instead. You seem like a pizza person. I went in the bathroom and cried. Always being aware of how much space you take up. Feeling and knowing you're fat and being very embarrassed about it. Everything. You just feel so uncomfortable. Man. After losing 100 pounds I realized how much terrible shit I was just dealing with on a daily basis. Physically, emotionally, psychosocially, physically. Simple tasks become so much more taxing. Like tying your shoes for example. I'd have to hold my breath because I'd have to press so hard against my stomach and chest in order to reach my shoes. And honestly, I was clinically obese. But I was in the bigger dude category under most American social standards. I can't imagine how people that need things like scooters to get around must feel. Psychosocially. If I was just hanging with a tight group of friends, this wouldn't bother me. But social settings with people that I didn't know as much were a nightmare because even if I was having a good time, lingering thoughts in the back of my head I would always have this: do I look fat in these clothes? Is my ass crack going to show if I sit down on this chair? Is my shirt making its way into my rolls? Am I taking too much space on the aisle that people can comfortably walk by? Am I going to be judged based on what I order to eat? But if I order something healthier, they're going to know I'm just ordering that so I don't look like the fat ass I am. It really sucks. Emotionally. That's the worst one. I think. Waking up and looking at myself in the mirror and thinking, is this really what I look like? It was hard not to sink myself into a hole when I looked at myself. A few years ago I decided to change my career and went to nursing, and I said to myself, if I'm going to be telling my patients that they need to stay healthy and make changes that benefit their health, I need to do the same thing. After 2 years of learning how to eat and increasing my physical activity, I lost about 100 pounds. All before nursing school. During nursing school I gained about 50 back due to stress and using food as a coping mechanism. Now that I'm done, I'm working on getting back to the shape I was in 2 years ago. Edit. Wow, thanks for the award. I don't think I did anything out of the ordinary, but I definitely appreciate the gesture. You all are so kind. Also, typus. There are so many. I'm not fat anymore, but I was all my life. 3 years ago I was 309, now 142. No surgery, just invented my own damn diet after failing all else. So many fat nightmares. Being oinked at in school. Not fitting in size 26 at the store. No clothing that flattered. Side eyes at my grocery cart or buffet tray. Rashes on my inner thighs from fabric rubbing together. Shorts riding up. Stains on my belly from my rolls touching the food on my plate. Not fitting on a stretcher. Mail order scrubs. Crying at night. Being the only fat person in my family. Worst of all was hideously low self-esteem. Eater. Thank you for the awards. My first ever. Having a wide arrangement of clothing. But only feeling like 2 or 3 shirts work. And maybe 1 pair of jeans. The rest is a maybe one day I'll lose weight wardrobe. The self-loathing. I've been skinny, fat, and everywhere in between. The hardest part for me is losing pretty privilege. I never knew what it was until the first time I got thin in my mid-20s. When I gained it all back, that preferential treatment was gone. And I missed it. More than I ever would have imagined. This might be an asshole response. But it's an honest one. Being ridiculed. Being treated almost as non-human. Knowing that any pain or humiliation people send your way is seen as deserved or your own fault. Knowing you truly are trying but no one cares because all they see is what size you are. I've been big. I've been small. I've been in between. And the difference in how people treat you is amazing. The dick shortened by 2 inches. It's why you gotta push down on the pelvic fat for that emergency inch when you need it. You get made fun of a lot. Feeling like you look really nice and then later seeing a picture of yourself. Trying to make yourself smaller on planes or anything with touching seats. Needing to be strategic about where you shop. Having everyone be an expert on your health without knowing anything other than what they see. You are invisible to others. Most people automatically assume you are inferior, stupid, lazy, ugly, sexless, weak, unworthy, gross, stinky, ad nauseam. Edit. I came home from work and was shocked at not only 2 awards but all the amazing comments and upvotes. Although my own opinion of myself fluctuates from day to day, week to week, I understand how many of us feel, what we go through, what we miss out on, how we internalize all those messages and punish ourselves as much as judgmental people punish us for vertical bar being fat. And if / when we bust our butts and lose the weight and we see how the world treats us completely differently, we truly see that most everyone has value placed upon them in direct relation to their appearance. We may have resentment toward those who treat us differently. Maybe they deserve it. I'm lucky. I have friends who don't give a damn. I hope all of you do too. Everyone falls down and hopefully gets back up. Whatever you choose to help you cope with life. Your worth as a human being is eternal. We do the best we can. Thank you for sharing. Honestly, so many of these things hit me in the feels. I've had extra weight my whole life. My largest I was 260. My smallest, as an adult, was 205. Currently I'm sitting at 225 aiming to get to 190. Yes. Looking in the mirror can be depressing. People's comments can be as well. Even when they don't mean to. Not wanting to take pictures because you know you won't like them, etc. I was to the point I would buy multiples of the same outfit. Black t-shirt, black hoodie, blue jeans, just so you couldn't really put a timestamp on when the photos were taken. What really always bothered me though was the absolute lack of flexibility I would have. Try to scratch your back, good luck. Try to do any sort of calisthenics, cramps like crazy. Balance. Poor. That shit always bothered me. So many people have tips and tricks for making major changes to your life. For someone large it's the major changes that stop us in our tracks. For me, I said I need to burn more calories and intake less. So I fast until lunch. Make sure I have vegetables. Try to cut down on bread and ensure I break a sweat daily. My cheat code was putting an elliptical and recumbent bike in the garage and hooking up a TV and box. I'll either watch Netflix or play some Halo with friends. It works well to pass time. At my heaviest, I went to an amusement park. I love roller coasters. I waited in line. Go on. The safety bar just didn't close / click, no matter how hard I or the ride operator pushed. I was told I had to get off the ride. The shame and humiliation I felt during the walk from the ride past the people in line behind me who saw the whole thing and the friends I was with who got to stay on the ride. That was the worst thing about being fat. Edit. Wow, thank you kind strangers for all the updates and awards. Edit 2. I'm so sorry so many others have experienced this. It's such a horrible feeling. And people can be cruel. If you laugh at someone for this, you are a terrible person and need to evaluate your own life choices. Also, for those asking, not long after this, I had gastric bypass and was able to lose 125 lbs. I'm much healthier and happier. For those who have mentioned that poor boy who died as a result of being over the weight limit and not properly secured, that was such a tragedy. This is why those weight limits / restrictions exist. They suck for those of us who are over those limits. But I respect their intended purpose. Finally, those who think my friends should have gotten off with me. They were ready to. I told them not to. No use all of us missing out on a ride we waited in a long line for. Losing your mobility. To the point where, if you drop something on the floor, you literally can't bend over to pick it up. And you're like, oh man. That was my favorite baby. You belong to the floor now. Junior. Just crawl around and try to live off the scraps. What was your favorite comment? Let us know below. And remember to like and subscribe. It helps a lot.